Welcome to Single Tree Nation. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the host and owner of Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue. We are here to build community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue. Welcome back to Single Tree Nation, guys. I'm your man, Charlie, as always. Tonight we have a special episode. We have our friend, Mr. Dave.
Yes, sir.
From Red Bicycle, the man, the myth, the legend of all things coffee. He has brought us some spectacular. We now have our own Single Tree brew. And then for anybody that wants to be able to read that and tell me what it says, that would be great, because I will not be able to roll my R's correctly. But man, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
I'm stoked to have you. So let's start with this.
Yes,
what do we have here?
Single Tree Brew is in the Red Bicycle world, that is our kickstand blend, which is like a lighter, we make a lot of cold brew out of it. And it's kind of middle of the road, mellow, lighter. So good with barbecue.
Awesome. I love it.
And then our,
that one.
kind of created, that's our Colombian blend.
Okay.
Also wonderful with barbecue. So we have a little barbecue themed coffee right here.
That's
that's the famous Colombian barbecue dish right there.
Perfect. I love it, man. I love it. Well, look, hey, thanks for hanging out, coming to join us today, talk a little bit about some coffee yourself and the brand. Tell me a little bit about, you've had, you got 10 locations now.
Yes, sir.
But let's back it up. You started Red Bicycle in, was it 2000? And correct me when I'm wrong, because 2011, is that right?
Yeah.
So it's 2010. You're playing golf at the time?
Yep.
Okay. And we'll go back to that because I have some questions about golf. Trent and I both are Trent's an avid golfer.
Yeah. Formerly. I used to be decent.
I used to be okay.
We used to be decent. Yeah. Charlie more
now I just whack it around a golf course. At least once a year. So you're playing golf. Now you wake up one morning and go, I need a coffee shop.
Yeah. It really wasn't that I needed a coffee shop. It was that I woke up one morning and I was like, I don't need a boss.
Okay.
What can I do where I don't have to have a boss? I just don't have to answer to anybody. That was my number one goal. And didn't know what to do. If it was going to be something in the golf world, what could I do where I didn't have to go back to school maybe, because I'm really poor at school, so that wasn't going to work out. I needed to figure it out, and I always wanted my own business, just to the fact that I can prove to myself, to others, that I can do this, along with just, I feel like waking up every morning and you don't know what to expect. You have the regular 9 to 5 every day. You can work really hard. You're still making X amount every day, right? Unless you're in sales and some other things, But for the most part, it is just, it's like the waking up, and today could be amazing. We could have a great revenue day. It could be really poor too,
Right.
It goes both ways. But it was kind of like that and being like, this could be way better than tomorrow, and we could grow this and could be really cool. And it was all that kind of excitement with
going back. You're thinking about what you can do. What made you go with coffee shop?
Coffee was really just at the time, and still is. It's time tested. It wasn't going away. I didn't have really a food and beverage background. I didn't know anything about coffee. I, in high school, worked at Burger King, and then I delivered pizzas. So that's my full food and beverage background.
Okay.
Really knew nothing,
Okay.
But coffee to me was a sustainable business model that I felt like it wasn't going to be way over my head. It was something I could get in, learn, and I truly knew nothing. I didn't know what a latte was. I didn't know what a cappuccino was. Truly, I didn't even drink coffee. But it was the number 2 commodity in the world behind oil. And so it wasn't going away. Still is number 2 commodity in the world.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so it just seemed like I think a coffee shop would be cool. Plus, everybody always wants to go to coffee shops. From the outside looking in, I was like, everybody is always talking about this coffee shop, this and that. And
Yeah.
they love it. So it seemed like, yeah, that was a cool business to get in. So let's try to do that.
So first location was where?
Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you living in Chapel Hill?
No, I was actually living. So I was in the golf industry down in Dallas, and was down there for 7 years after college. And that's when I kind of got the idea that, okay, I think I want a coffee shop. And I'm from South Dakota originally.
Okay.
And in my mindset, it's like coffee is, you kind of need to be somewhere in a colder climate for coffee to be successful. That's my mindset. And now, like, knowing the business a little bit more, like, it doesn't matter where you are, warm,
Right.
cold, whatever. So I moved to Minneapolis, St. Paul, have some really good friends from college that were there. My sister lives there. And I knew that area pretty well. So I felt like I could find a good location, open up my coffee shop, and kind of grow it from there. But the challenges truly were like getting something off the ground was way harder than I thought it was. And it was going to be way more expensive than also thought it was.
Yeah.
And you just have a lot of like, as you get going and you open up a location, you prove that you're successful. I mean, it's pretty easy, honestly, to start opening up more locations. But that first one, nobody believes in you. Nobody wants to give you money. Nobody wants really anything. Nobody wants to take a risk on you being a tenant even, with an unproven model. Yeah. So it was hard to get going. So really then switched my mindset to like, let's buy something existing that's already open. And didn't really care where it was. Just trying to find like a cool brand in a cool location that was fairly successful, but I really wasn't even too concerned about it being like that successful or not. I really felt like I could get in. I mean, that's like not knowing the business. I felt like I'll get in, I'll be fine. I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
So found a coffee shop for sale in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Had been open for 10 years. It was called Red Bicycle. And the guy that owned it was trying to get out of it and got it for what I felt like was an amazing deal. And bam, got in there day one. And
So you're in Minneapolis.
Yep.
You find the shop in North Carolina.
Yep.
Work out go through the due diligence and all the things. And okay, hey, yes, sign a dotted line.
Yep.
You pack up and move to Chapel Hill.
Yeah, man.
And one day you're at your sister's place. The next day you're making coffee.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that was 2011.
Yep.
All right. So you got 2011 Red Bicycle at that time has been around 10 years.
Yeah.
All right. That one single location.
Just a single location.
Okay.
Yeah.
So single location, been around 10 years, fairly proven.
Yeah.
What's the difference in Red Bicycle today versus when you bought it?
Pretty big difference. Main thing, the biggest difference would be the food side. When I first got into it, it was truly just a coffee shop. Like we did some pastries, some sandwiches, that's it. And then all the coffee side. And really what I learned when I first got into the business, that coffee is part of everyone's schedule, part of everyone's routine. Mm-hmm. So I can come in and have all these cool, great ideas, right? And I think they're really awesome. And it was also buying an existing was the best thing because my ideas generally sucked, right? So you only get that one chance when you're brand new. Then people are gonna be like, we're out of here. I would have probably failed, been done and over with, but had an existing customer base. So they're like, nah, I don't really like it. It's not for me. I'm just gonna keep doing what I already do. And you just realize that was the sentiment over and over. Like, people get their coffee, they want it the same way every time. They don't really differentiate. Like black coffee guys, they're not going to go get lattes and a fruity drink and with all these flavors. It's just not for them. It's also like they go to the coffee shop like close to where they work or in a close proximity to their home.
Right.
So it's part of their schedule leaving to go to work or on their break, they go there. So it's hard if you're not the only player in the town or in the community neighborhood. It's hard to get traction for new customers. But you think about the mentality with customers when a new restaurant opens up. People are usually pretty excited about it. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna go try this, Yeah. Like whatever it is, new pizza place. Yeah, I love pizza, right? I'll eat at 10 different ones. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like this different mentality with people versus the coffee shop where they're like, nah, I got my coffee shop. Joe makes my coffee awesome. I'm not messing with it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I kind of learned as we went on that I needed to change my business model to get more customers through the door. And then you get them through the door with food. And then you hope they become an everyday coffee customer. And that's the goal. Cool. They're going to come every day, spend $5. Then they're going to eat lunch or have breakfast a couple times a week, bring some people. That's a winner. Instead of getting them once a month for food.
Right.
We're still only getting them once a month maybe for food, but we're getting them every day for coffee now.
Perfect.
And that would be the biggest difference is we tried to find kind of a niche food-wise that nobody else was doing, and that's where we have crepes. Really, nobody else does that.
Yeah.
And then we've just added to that menu, and we have a pretty big menu overall for a coffee shop. So
I love it. So now you have 10 locations.
Yeah.
After Chapel Hill, how long were you there before location 2?
We were there a year and a half. And then I just realized like Chapel Hill is cool. Loved it, but it's where University of North Carolina is. Super reliant on the college kids. There's 30,000 of them. There's only 60,000 people in the community. When they're gone, it's like a ghost town. Yeah. So we just had these big spikes in, summers were slow, which was cool. The first summer I was there, I was like, all right, I'm just going to kick it, and have fun, but needed money at the same point, right?
Right.
So I just really wanted to, I kind of figured out the model that I wanted, and that was this bigger food side. Our space wasn't conducive to that, didn't have a big enough kitchen, didn't have any of this stuff. So I needed to find a new space to kind of move the location to. And really couldn't find one in Chapel Hill. It's not overall a very big community. There's no parking in the entire city whatsoever. It's got to be the highest per capita moped user city I've ever seen. Everybody has a moped, and they encourage parking them on the sidewalk. So, I mean, anywhere you go, there's just mopeds parked like bicycles on sidewalks everywhere.
Okay.
And so it's just really hard to find a location there where we weren't going to just run into the same issues, where we only have X amount of time during the year to make money, and the other times we're going to be slow. So looked at different markets. Nashville, after the housing recession, was doing very well. And it just seemed like that's a good opportunity to go to a market that's way bigger. It wasn't oversaturated like it is now with coffee shops.
Right.
And we're going to be busy 365. So just sold that location to a local coffee company.
Yeah.
Kept the Red Bicycle name, took that money, and opened up our first location in Nashville.
Nice. And that was in
Germantown.
2013?
Yep.
And that was Germantown?
Yep.
Okay. So, and then now you have 10 locations all in and around Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What was the last one that opened?
The last one would be out at the Tanger Outlets, the new Tanger Outlets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, up there in Antioch?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. What's on the horizon? How many more are we going to get to?
I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, we could really like open up a bunch. We're now where we're a strong enough brand, and every landlord, every new development, they want a coffee shop as like an anchor tenant. That's like kind of what everybody wants first and foremost, and then they start looking for other tenants after that. And so we get approached with like we can get a lot of very good deals from a rent perspective and build out perspectives and all these different things, where we could open up a bunch for fairly inexpensive overall. And right now with the economy the way it is, I mean, they're giving out some smoking hot deals on spaces, and you can kind of dictate your terms, especially if you're willing to go out 15, 20 years on some of these terms, which we feel confident we're not going anywhere. So,
right.
But the kind of like the infrastructure within is lacking a little bit in that regards to actually go out, open up a bunch of locations and do a good job with it.
I got you.
I think it would suffer if we, tried to go pump out like 5 a year or something like that. So really right now is we're just kind of trying to make a plan for what our future is going to look like. There are other owners within the company. They own individual locations, and I own the company. They license the name, the use, the concept from me, and they own their individual locations. And really what I would like to do is like...
So more of a franchise model.
It's franchise, but without the restrictions. Call it licensing agreement.
Yep.
So we don't have the strict guidelines that you have to follow in the franchise. It kind of gives everybody a little more freedom within their stores to make decisions. If a menu item sucks, kick it off, replace it, where you couldn't do that otherwise.
Right.
So these guys are all wonderful owners. They're all skilled, knowledgeable within the business. I would rather form something with them instead of pay like, hey, let's get a district manager, an area manager, a team that's going to go open up new locations and stuff. And you got to pay all these people, train them. Then you're going to lose them all and do it all over again, right? Well, all these guys that we already have, they have more knowledge, more skill than people we would put in these roles. Plus, they've helped grow the company to what it is. Let's all be kind of rewarded from it is kind of my mindset, and form a team together. And that's kind of what we're looking at doing. We just haven't totally figured out how it would look.
How that looks. Gotcha.
I think that's really our first next step is getting that finalized, what we're going to do. And then, all right, here's our plan. And we're all going to benefit from this growth instead of just me benefiting from the growth.
Right.
And these guys having to spend a ton of money to open up a new location, right?
Yeah.
We can do it completely differently. And I think we can grow better, faster, and more efficiently that way.
How many of the red bicycles are under your specific company?
I own 3, and then I own our roasting company, which supplies all the coffee for all the locations.
Okay, all right. And what three stores are those?
The 2 on the campus of Vanderbilt.
Okay.
The 1 in Germantown, the OG, and those would be the actual 3 brick and mortars, and then the roasting company here in Murfreesboro.
The one on the square?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
And the front side of that is a coffee shop, and we have a different owner that owns the coffee shop side. So we kind of share the whole space. Backside's the roasting company, and that's kind of like my headquarters overall. Yeah.
And then you and Joni's had something at some point in time, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know, he changed the name. I don't know what happened there, but it was just what was that? 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago?
No, it's not that long. 3. I want to say 3.
Yeah.
3 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a crazy story. So the owner of Joni's, he was a friend of mine, and he was living in California. He wanted to get into owning his own business, operating it, all this and that. Yeah. He had came and visited many times. He liked Red Bicycle, and we talked about doing it. Him opening a shop, all this and that, and so he then decided he wanted to do it. Then we were trying to find a location, and that's really where Murfreesboro came about. Like it was kind of an untapped market. I hadn't even really thought about coming down to Murfreesboro. I was more focused in the Nashville area, and he was pretty sold on like, hey, this is a crazy growing area, and we could probably do really well here.
Yeah.
So that's where we were like, all right, let's rock and roll. Let's do it. So found the first location over off St. Andrews and Cason Lane. That was the first Red Bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he moved here from California. He got it up and going. And then the second location would be on the square.
Yeah.
And that was kind of came about where...
I didn't know he had anything to do with the one on Cason, but...
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was the Red Bicycle originally.
Yeah.
And then the one on the square was the second Red Bicycle location. And that came about where that used to be the Binks Outfitters.
Mm-hmm.
Very big space.
Yeah.
And too big for just a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, well, we'll make a cool concept, half coffee shop one side, the other side we'll put the roastery there.
Yeah.
And that's when we weren't roasting our own coffee yet.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, looking back, you're like, it's probably not the greatest place for a roastery because it's not, you can't get big trucks in and out very easily.
Right.
You know, we're dealing with pallets and all sorts
Yeah.
of stuff all the time. It would
Yeah.
have probably been better off in a warehouse area, but it just seemed like a cool idea and a cool concept. So
Yeah.
rock and rolled with that and got that going. And then that's just like part of the challenges of having a company, licensing the name in use to certain owners, and then trying to grow it too with
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
owners. And
Yeah.
really, I mean, it's nothing like crazy really what happened. Really what happened is going to open the Smyrna location with a different owner. And it was just kind of like button heads on, that's
I
going to be
gotcha.
good for the
Yeah.
brand, all that. And
Yeah.
so we just ended up parting ways. And that
Okay.
was that.
I got you. Yeah. Look, I didn't think it was anything crazy.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there's all kinds of things that get
For
ran
sure.
through the mud, but I was always curious because when I first saw it come up there,
Yeah.
we were looking for a brick and mortar for my business.
Yeah.
Right. We were Single Tree was trying to get into brick and mortar. And so anytime a business got bought or leased or a space
Yep.
got bought or leased, it popped up on my radar.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I saw it change and I was like,
Yeah.
wait
that's
a minute,
weird.
I'm really confused.
Everybody was.
Yeah. So cool. All right. All right. So every show we have, David, we do a segment called Mac or Beans.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I'm a barbecue guy.
Yeah.
It's a this or that segment. All right. So the first question is always, when you're eating barbecue, is it mac and cheese or beans that go with it?
Mm-hmm.
So
What kind of beans are we talking here?
so
White, green?
smoked baked beans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So would you prefer to have mac and cheese with your barbecue or smoked baked beans with your barbecue?
Smoked beans, man.
Smoked beans?
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
I get too much mac and cheese. I got kids. That's all they eat. You know?
How many kids do you have?
2.
2?
Yep.
Boys, girls, both?
One boy, one girl. Their ages 3 and 2. They're only 13 months apart. So
Wow.
they're heavy into the chicken tenders and mac and cheese stage
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is outstanding. 2 and 3. Wow. Man, bless your heart.
Yeah, it's a little hectic. We just got through potty training too, so that's a big one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we got no more diapers now, so
Good
it's
for
a big
you.
win.
Good for you. I got an 18-year-old, a 13-year-old, and an 11-year-old.
Man,
So, and they're all boys.
no kidding. That's
All
awesome.
boys. Yeah, it's like WWE in my house.
Oh, I can
all
imagine
the time.
all the time.
Yeah. So now with the mac or beans, my question for you on your side is whole beans or ground coffee? What's at your house?
Whole beans all the time.
Whole beans all the time.
Yeah.
So you grind fresh before you brew.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a particular bean that you go after?
Yeah, my personal favorite is pretty much anything Ethiopian.
Okay.
They're, to me, kind of like the fruitiest, lightest coffees. That's how we generally roast them too. And I just like, I really like lighter coffees. But darker coffees, it's kind of like more time of day thing. Lighter coffees, There is this what's the word I'm looking for anyways? Stereotype about darker coffees being bolder and, wake you up, get you going. That's false. When you roast coffee, the lighter you roast it, it retains more caffeine. The darker you roast it, you actually are roasting some of the caffeine and flavors out. So the lighter you're going to pack more punch.
Okay.
So, I didn't know that. I learned that over time, and I was like, all right, so I want more. So yeah, just give me the light stuff, and then grew to like it a little bit more. So I'm usually Ethiopian coffees. They're usually hit my flavor profile the best.
So from the different regional beans, right? So you get into those. Are some more potent than others? Or is it just a different just a different flavor?
Just a different flavor. They're really not more potent than others. It's all really based on how you roast it is where you're going to get the flavor in there. And it's not like, like decaf coffee. You ever wonder how they make decaf? It's not like there's decaf beans, right? It's a process. So you have to remove the caffeine from the coffee to make it decaf. And there's two ways to do it. You can do it with chemicals. And so they'll soak the coffee beans in the chemicals. It'll remove the caffeine. And then they wash it all and they retain the caffeine, and they sell that to other companies to use in products.
Okay.
Everything across the board from like Excedrin to energy drinks, anything that would use caffeine, they get it a lot from there. The other is, it's called Swiss water, and that's just a washing process, and they wash it over and over and over and over and over, and they remove the coffee, and that's not using chemicals, natural. It's the best process. In my opinion, it's the best tasting decaf there is. Okay. So yeah, when it comes down to origins, regions, all of those things, they're all pretty much the same caffeine wise. Yeah. Okay. It's just going to be different flavor profiles.
So what makes so I spent some time in South Florida in Miami for a while. Yeah. And while I was down there, Cuban coffee was a real big deal, right? I
love Cuban coffee.
And I do too. But it is potent. Yeah. Right, a sip of Cuban coffee, like they sell it in little thimbles, right? Because it's just so strong. Yep. So what, an espresso seems to be stronger than a regular cup of coffee, right? Sure. So what makes those stronger?
It's just a process and how you make it. Is all, and so they're.
So how you roast the bean, how you take this?
In the actual process of how they're going to make their little cup of coffee. Yep. Okay. It's same with espresso to Cuban coffee to Turkish coffee, even across the board. Yeah. It's just in the process. And, espresso is pushing water through a tiny little amount of coffee, and it's pressurized, and so you're just maximizing this tiny little little bit of coffee, and it makes this strong, very potent form of coffee. And it's the same with Cuban coffee, Turkish coffee. It's how they prepare it. They're going to basically maximize a small amount of coffee and get every little bit of caffeine out of it, versus throwing it in the hopper, just dumping some water over it. It funnels through it. There's no pressure. There's no steam. There's not all these things that help pack in the coffee and extract as much coffee and caffeine from it as possible.
So if I'm at home, just a general coffee maker, just a basic Walmart brand coffee maker. Yeah. Right. I'm just there's not really anything else I can do to make that more potent of a cup of coffee.
Yeah, the only thing you really can do would be using more coffee grounds, less water, and trying to make a concentrate from it.
I got you. All right.
And trying to do that, and you're going to then make this bitter cup of coffee, right? And it's going to taste probably not the greatest. It's going to have more caffeine in it, and then usually from there you just add some water to it, right? And find out where you want that taste to be. what level of bitterness you can handle.
I could see myself trying to do that in the morning. I would screw it all up, to be honest.
That's like how we make cold brew. Cold brew is the most simple form of coffee.
Okay.
You take a bunch of coffee, pour a whole bunch of water over it, saturate all the coffee, right? And you just let it sit for 24 hours. Super simple. And then from there, you remove all the coffee grounds, strain it all, and then you have this very potent concentrate that, I mean, it'll taste like jet fuel and your body will react to it like jet fuel, like it'll get you going.
Rock and roll.
But
huh?
yeah, man, it's got quite the taste to it. So then we cut all the cold brew half and half with water. So you're adding this water back to control that taste and make it taste a little bit better and not super bitter and strong.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's always it's always intriguing to learn things that are different, especially around food, because I do what I do every day, and it's just old hat, right? So to learn something is pretty cool. I love it. All right, so let's back up just a little bit. Do you know where? I know you didn't come up with the name.
Yeah.
But do you have the origin of what? Who came up with a red bicycle for a coffee shop?
Right. The original guy that opened it, I've been asked this question a million times. So, I mean, over time, I made up a fake story.
Okay.
So, you got to have a good story. And
that's authentic as hell right there.
Yeah, right. There's some legitimate parts to the story. There's partial truths to it.
Okay.
But the real story is the guy was just... he thought if he came up with a name that had bicycle in it, Chapel Hill had this big bicycle community. They're out riding bikes all the time. They're out in their, spandex doing their thing. And he thought they would all come in and buy coffee if he had a bicycle name. That's like the true story behind it. And
okay.
It just...
Hey, sometimes it doesn't have to be deep.
No, that was the true story. So I just thought it was a cool name and kept it, and it was unique. I'm all about unique and different stuff. So
yeah, I get it. Hey, I love it. All right, let's back up a little bit farther. Mm-hmm. We kind of glossed over it earlier. Before you started Red Bicycle, you played golf. Mm-hmm. So first question is, were you a touring pro? Did you play on the tours, or were you a club pro?
Club pro.
Okay.
Yeah. Played in some tournaments and all that fun stuff, but really, I was just in the golf industry. I was really, honestly, more than anything, an event coordinator in the golf industry, first and foremost. I had some great jobs. I was incredibly lucky with the jobs that I got. My first job, I worked for Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys. They own a golf course there called Cowboys Golf Club.
Yep.
And it's a public course, but it is just fueled by private events. And it's private event after private event. And yeah, I did tons and tons of those. It's just the same thing we were kind of talking about earlier, 1 o'clock shotgun, 144 people, get them out on the course, get them in, and all that. It's all the stuff that goes along with that. So I did that. In Texas, you have 2 huge golf seasons, spring and fall. Summer, not very many events. It's too hot.
Yep.
But we have 2 amazing seasons of every day, 244 person events, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, just rocking and rolling every day for months on end.
That's moving and shaking right there.
Yeah, it was pretty wild how many golfers had pumped through a golf course there. So we did that. And then that got to be a lot. It was a lot of work. And I ended up going over to Colonial, where they have the PGA Tour event at Colonial Private Club. So very different. Went to the private club and got to, bring food out to the guys, the members, when they were on the 13th hole and they want a steak. Here I come, man. It's a different world.
Who eats a steak while they're playing golf?
Dude,
that's crazy.
We had one member that would land his helicopter behind the 13th green at Colonial. You'd have to go pick him up from time to time. Had some amazing members. We also had over 20 PGA Tour players that was their home base, played out of. So got to mingle with a lot of them, play golf with a fair amount of them. And when I was at Cowboys Golf Club, every Dallas Cowboy player that was current contract, they all played. They could play anytime. That was part of the deal. So got to play with a whole bunch of the Dallas Cowboy players.
Nice.
So that was cool. Had some good stories. Got some good gambling buddies from those times.
Nice.
Yeah. So
it's good stuff. So when did you grow up playing golf?
I always played golf, but that wasn't my main focus. I played basketball in college, and
okay.
My dad's a high school basketball coach. He was our high school coach for 36 years. So always grew up playing basketball, played in college, and then always played golf. But once I was done playing basketball, I was like, man, I need something to kind of fuel the competitive juices still. And just started playing golf all the time and just got into that industry. Enjoyed it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, so you went from working at a Cowboys to Colonial, back to Minneapolis.
Yep.
To wow.
Yeah, when I was in Minneapolis,
a coffee shop.
Yeah, I got a part-time job at a golf course in Minneapolis. Actually, it's in Wisconsin. That's right on the border right there. So I was on the Wisconsin side and met some great friends there and some cool people. Still stay in touch with them all the time. And just worked there part-time while I was trying to figure out what to do, and found it in Chapel Hill. So I was out of there. Outstanding.
That's good stuff. Okay. So we got 10 locations, working on trying to figure out how to grow that. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything that's set and coming up, or are you just working on setting the plan?
We definitely have one in set and coming up. That's going to be in Mount Juliet.
Okay.
And it's part of the Vintage Properties. And I think there's Vintage Properties here even in Murfreesboro. Yeah. So it's with them. And so we have 2 locations in Vintage Properties currently.
Oh, okay.
And it's been a great little partnership we have with them. And so we'll be opening another apartment complex that will have retail on the bottom, and this one will be a little bigger. It'll have a little more retail, and it'll still have some food and beverage to it. And so we'll be in there, and that's the next one. I know they're pushing dirt around over there at the location now. So
okay. Nice.
Not really sure on.
Is that yours, or is that another licensing deal?
That's gonna be another licensee. Yeah.
Nice. What's in like your grand scheme? Do you have like an idea of what you would like it to, however it works out, but what you would like to see Red Bicycle land at?
Yeah, I think really I'd like to be, somewhat of a Southeast brand, where I don't think we have a lot of locations in kind of a small area, honestly, right now, Yeah. It's like we could spread that out and already be pretty well established throughout the Southeast, but it's kind of came easy, honestly, opening locations here once you get going. So really would like to get down to probably Alabama first, and then kind of go from there, just probably Georgia, Florida. We kind of have ties within our ownership group to all these states. So it's kind of where everybody kind of wants to go already.
I got you.
So, 5 a state, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do that for the next 5 years. I'd like to chill out and relax a little bit, and hopefully not have to put as much time as I am into it right now, but especially with kids, you want to spend as much time with them as possible.
Enjoy it, man, because once they get into school,
right.
it seems like time just doubles and speeds up. Somebody hits the fast forward button.
Right.
Those first couple of years are really nice. I would cherish it.
Yeah, I hear that over and over, right?
I just can't believe I went and saw my oldest, who's 18. He's in college at UTC.
Yep.
And I can't believe that he doesn't live here.
Right.
He's not anywhere close.
Yeah. I can't wrap my mind around that.
Yeah,
I can't wrap my mind around how you can let that happen.
It's
as
crazy.
A parent, how you're cool with
I'm not.
Right. How
I'm
do you
really
do
not.
it?
But they're 18, and you know, they can go do what they want.
Right.
You know, I tell all my kids the exact same thing. When you turn 18, if you pay your own bills and you want to go do whatever you want to go do, then go do what you go do.
Yeah.
Just don't ask me to pay for it.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. How can people get a hold of you, find you, social medias, all the things?
Yeah.
You know, people want some good coffee. How do they come get you?
Social media, definitely. redbicyclecoffee.com is our website to all of our shops, but then there's a link to our coffee roaster. And everything we sell, you can purchase right from there, and we ship it to you. You can have a subscription. We'll send you a bunch every month, all that good stuff.
Nice.
So head to our website. Everything's linked through social media to, you know, it'll send you in the right direction if you find us anywhere, Facebook, Instagram. I think we're on TikTok now.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You have a social media manager that's doing all that for you?
I got a gal. You know, I still do a good majority of some stuff, but yeah, there's some unfamiliarities out there now that I feel like an old guy.
Crazy
you know,
world, man.
Right?
Crazy world.
So yeah, we got some of the employees that just handle, especially the TikTok stuff, like, and they make some incredible content. And I'm like, I don't even know how you come up with this stuff, you know?
Yeah, I know. I realized a few years ago that it is no longer an age of being able to place an ad somewhere in a newspaper or a magazine or on TV or whatever. It's social media is the new form of advertisement and marketing your brand and building your brand, right? So it's important. You got to do it. Got to do it every day.
Every day.
I absolutely love it. So look, every week we do what's called a Friday Feel Good. Okay. So this week, Derry normally handles this, so I'll try not to screw it up too bad.
All right.
But it's just kind of your mantra for the day or for the week, or however you feel like going about it. But I received a text message this morning from someone that worked for me multiple different times. They were very inspired by some things that I have done. And so the Friday Feel Good this week, you never know how you will positively impact somebody's life. So, you know, stay authentic, go after your dreams, and tell the world about it. Because somebody somewhere is listening to you and is inspired to go be better because of that.
Yeah.
So for this week, be authentic, be yourself, live your dreams, right? So, and you guys know what to do. Find somebody you know and tell them you love them. We appreciate it. That's your Friday Feel Good. David, appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for hanging out.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
We are super stoked to have you on. I really enjoyed the conversation. As always, guys, if you want to get involved, please feel free to reach out to me at charlie@singletreebbq.com. You can call me at 615-307-0120. And as always, all the social media is at SingletreeBBQ. So until next time, guys, we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review and come see us at the restaurant.